Here are the three biggest relationship issues that ruin everything. Now, this is just going to be from what I've learned in the past, from wisdom that I've heard online, from conversations I've shared with friends and family. But of course, this is my opinion, take it or leave it. And all I can hope for is that it benefits you in one way or another. The first issue that I'd say is the most detrimental to relationships is always coming forward with a solution-based thinking method compared to a understanding and hearing you out based reasoning method. Now by this I mean in friendships, relationships in the past, I've had a bad habit of constantly diving first into a solution-based approach and response to my partner or friend, sometimes even family, when all that person wanted was for me to tell them that I heard them, that I was listening, and that I understand where they're coming from, and that their feelings are valid. And I will say now I'm getting a lot better at this than I used to be. But in the past, I couldn't really put my finger on it when it came to why this was such an issue. I felt like if I'm able to come up with a solution to a problem, this can only be beneficial, right? And it's what most young men like us think, especially when we're 16, 17, 18 growing up. We're being taught to solve problems. And unless you've had these conversations with your parents or a previous partner at that early age, or even a close best friend that's emotionally mature for their age, you're not really having those deep, vulnerable, emotional conversations that go the distance when it comes to a relationship environment. And instead, usually we have to learn the hard way. And it's from either getting into too many arguments, disagreements, or potentially breaking up altogether with these friends or partners, because you can't help but break this cycle of responding to situations in a solution-based sense compared to an emotional feeling, hearing, and understanding based response. Now, what I will say is when it comes to being in a professional work environment or being out with friends or just talking with family about another topic, it's okay, guys, to approach things in a solution-based regard. Like anything, there's a time and place for it. And that's what I've learned as well. But when it comes to those vulnerable moments with your partner, where all they need you to do is just tell them that you hear them, you understand them, and that you're here for them, just choose to go this way, bite your tongue with whatever solution you might be thinking of in that subconscious mind of yours, and instead put it on hold for another time, or at least until you just think about it a little bit more and speak to yourself about it before you bring it up to her. In the moment, just be there for her, open arms, and there's a lot of power in that conversation going the right way rather than the wrong way. The second biggest thing I've noticed that ruins relationships is partners getting into relationships when they aren't emotionally intelligent yet, or as I should say, they aren't emotionally vulnerable yet, which means at least one person or the other is coming into this partnership in a more fragile, sheltered, scared stance of not wanting to open up because of past issues, or they've been treated the wrong way, potentially even trauma. And if you're in a relationship like this, unknowingly, when these problems finally get brought to the surface, it's going to be as if the floor underneath you got rug pulled and you fall straight on your face, break your nose, and you got to get back up and deal with it. Because you had no idea that the foundation you were walking on was so unstable. But because these conversations don't come up soon enough in our type of hookup culture rather than dating for something more long-term and relationship-based, people show up with all these problems, with these burdens that they haven't addressed, they haven't spoken about. Some guys not even talking to their friends about it. I know who you are. And that is what will eat you up over time. And not only eat you up, but eat your relationship up. And girls, this goes for you too. I mean, from what I've experienced, We all get mistreated at some points in our lives, and it's just part of this learning experience, some much worse than others. And of course, we're sorry to hear that. But it's not an excuse to not address those feelings directly to your partner. Tell them, listen, this is what I've been through. This is what is going to be processed if we are dating, and I'm going to be doing my best to fix it. But just know this is what's going on in my head. And just being open enough to share that extremely emotionally vulnerable side that we love to shelter away because it's so fragile, but it's actually one of your largest superpowers if you can find your voice and just share it with those closest to you. Not only will they appreciate it beyond belief, but they will love you so much more than they already do, even if you didn't think that was possible. But you've chosen to open up to that next extent, and that goes the distance for the partner. And I know that has in my case with relationships as well. And in terms of the third biggest issue that I feel like is a detriment to relationships these days, it's overall jealousy when it comes to social media. I think social media has its positives and social media has a lot of negatives. Just take Twitter, for example, right? Congratulations, the platform is now free speech, which in theory should be good, but that now promotes negativity, slut shaming, disrespectful comments, aggressive comments towards women from men, also some verbally abusive comments from women towards men, etc., etc. Things just they get out of control pretty quick. And then we go onto Instagram, and no matter if you're the guy or the girl, you can just be scrolling through your reels or For You page on TikTok, and you're going to be having these girls show up, whether you've been watching that content or not. And if you run into a problem where you and your partner are sitting in the same room watching these videos, and these videos come up, and one of them gets jealous, it's not really fair to just point the finger and blame one another for it, because sure, the algorithm is tailoring content to an extent to what you've watched, but you can't just go ahead and put the blame hammer down and punish the person for something that was out of their control in terms of what showed up there. And the truth is, they shouldn't be in a relationship if they are thinking of other people. They should only be thinking of their partner. And that goes without saying. But if something uncontrolled happens, where a girl comes up and talks to you on the street and just wants to get to know you as a friend, and you friend zone them and walk away, and that now becomes an issue with your girlfriend, or vice versa. A guy comes up and talks to your girl in the club, at the bar, tries to get her number, but she says no, I've got a boyfriend, but he keeps flirting. It's not a reason to just get downright upset with that person, because it wasn't their fault. If anything, they have to take accountability for maybe how they chose to speak to that person, and if they were leading them on unintentionally or flirting when they shouldn't have. But if they were just having a friendly conversation, that they were trying to deflect any of these advances from these people and just reason and say, look, listen, guy, girl, I've got a partner, I appreciate the compliment, but just get on your way. If they were trying to do that, it's not worth this level of anger, emotional fear, and blame that comes with it. Of what if they left me? What if I'm not good enough for them? What if they want to cheat on me? All these thoughts are just a byproduct of things that haven't been addressed in the past, or things that have happened to us in the past. So it's important to share those with our partner within those first couple months of that honeymoon phase, where sure, everything is going right, but you also need to get things straight and laid out on the table in terms of, hey, this is what I've been through. This is what I'm working on to improve for us. And this is how badly I want to do it, because I want to see us work. And I know when I took that approach to my most recent relationship, it's been the best experience so far in my life, at a time when, sure, it was fantastic to have support from somebody, but I knew I was going to be able to make it work if I was on my own through these difficult times. But the fact that somebody was able to step in, share such a strong connection with me, experience so many things with me, want to live life to the fullest with me, it's all I could ever ask for. And the least I owe them is just to be the most authentic version of myself, be completely emotionally vulnerable, and tell them honestly when anything comes up, so we can just communicate, address things right away, and not let things build up over time. The best case scenario to avoid these big issues is just have these weekly check-ins with your partner where you break down not only how each of you are feeling, but if anything happened during that week that you maybe want to address and just gain some clarity on in case one person's mind ran races around a thought compared to the other and led them slightly off track. And overall, just reassure them, I'm still here for you. I love you so much. You're always cared for here in my house, in my arms. I can't wait to experience life with you, whatever it is. Just share that authentic, genuine, loving moment with them, because those priceless moments are truly what will go the length and the distance when it comes to building a strong, long-lasting relationship. If you made it this far, drop a love in the comment down below. If you're new here, my name is Gareth. I'm 24 years old. Been through a lot of hardship in the last year, but I've managed to find the relationship of my life, move into my dream house with a view of the mountains behind me, be starting my own business and running an online coaching business, and overall trying to do everything I can to bless the people closest to me, my mother, and honor my late father who passed away last year. So if this is the journey that you would like to join along on, I'd love if you'd subscribe and come along with me. And if not, no worries. Everybody's to each their own. So I appreciate you guys tuning in for another day of March Madness. And let's continue this grind tomorrow. Peace.